Welcome, everybody, to the Super Bowl edition of the Loud and Drunk podcast.
Super Bowl!
This is Dan bringing us in, joined once again by Moses, who cannot contain his enthusiasm.
Oh, I am bursting with fruit flavor right now.
God, why do you have to ruin every intro?
I don't know. It's a moral imperative.
Moses, what are you most excited about the Super Bowl as you light that cigarette to take a drag?
I am excited to see Taylor Swift. Not like she is the Bo Jackson of our time. Because, one, she can fill stadiums with her music, and now she's a football player, I understand.
You have misread everything about that. She's dating a football player.
I don't know his stats, but hers are off the charts.
Okay, I'm just going to shake it off. Justin!
Shake it off, shake it off.
I think I'm having a stroke. I'm super excited to talk about the Super Bowl. Oh boy, we're in trouble. Big NFL coming our way, but we can take them.
Yeah, fuck those nerds.
And I'm Fred Williamson. My friends call me the Hammer. Very happy to be here. Very strong opinions about the Super Bowl. Love Taylor Swift. Big fan. Call myself a Swiftie, if I may. Yeah, just very excited to kind of dive into the action on this one.
Well, you guys don't really talk about sports a whole lot.
Not really, no.
Is football a sport?
For this kind of occasion, figured we'd bring in an expert. Please welcome back to the show. By day, he's an automotive technician, but by night, he is the loud and drunk Super Bowl expert. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Justin, the mechanic.
Hey, what's up? How are you? Listen, I don't know about expert. That's definitely not a thing.
You got to roll with it.
Yeah, Dan said it, so it must be true.
Yeah, I don't lie.
This episode relies solely on your shoulders. No stress.
All right, I mean, I have some knowledge, but it's not going to be like, it's not going to blow you away.
The only thing I know about Super Bowl is the one that I just smoked.
Super
It was
Bowl.
mostly PCP. I thought you were Taylor Swift, actually.
Well, the Super Bowl is actually a big time for gathering and eating food. And one place that you should check out to go to the Super Bowl and enjoy some delicious food is the Stonefire Grill in Beechwood and enjoy the best wings in Ocean County.
That's true.
Whether it's date night or just headed to the bar to watch the big game, Stonefire's atmosphere and delicious menu will leave you impressed. Make sure that you tell them that Loud and Drunk sent you. I'd also like to take this time to encourage you to subscribe to this podcast. We are on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Rumble, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. If you are on YouTube and Rumble, smash that like button, leave us a comment, share this video with your friends, and get in on the conversation by joining us on social media at Loud and Drunk on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, by the way, you'll never find us on YouTube if you just don't specifically search for Loud and Drunk. So make sure, if you're trying to find us on YouTube,
We are very much tucked away in a deep, dark corner that is, you have to be very deliberate. So.
You got to dig for treasure.
It's right where Silk Road starts and the internet begins.
Wow, that's deep. Can I get MDMA there?
Yes, ask for Mitnick.
Okay, is that you?
No, I'm not Mitnick.
It's you, isn't it?
It's me. Or Ricky Spanish. He'll get you there.
Ricky
That's just stupid.
You know what's also stupid, Mr. Williamson? The conspiracy theories that have happened in this time frame between the Super Bowl. Taylor Swift is apparently a covert agent, or it's a psyop. So when the Super Bowl happens and the Kansas City Chiefs win, because that's going to happen,
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it? Who are they playing?
they're playing the San
Niners.
Francisco 49ers.
Oh, I've heard of them. Like, it's...
Yeah. They also dig for gold.
Yeah, I remember Jerry Rice being a thing.
Aliens are going to bring back Taylor Swift so they can take her back?
No,
finally?
she's going to endorse Joe Biden during
Right.
the Super Bowl and swing the election to Joe Biden.
Wow.
That is the conspiracy
Is it?
theory.
Yes, it is.
It is.
It is.
What?
Yeah.
It's
she
all over
like-
the place.
What?
It's on Fox News. It's
It was
all.
on it was
my
Jesse
God.
Waters on
Yep.
Fox News.
Yep.
It was also similarly repeated by, now he dropped out, Vivek Ramaswamy.
Right.
Which I don't know why this is the hill. There's like, oh yeah, let's talk about that.
I
Is
just
she
want to say
like-
bless you after whatever you just said.
Is she like, she's like I know very little of her other than my absolute diehard passion for her music and her passion for music. But as far as politics, I know next to nothing. Is she deeply involved in politics?
It's a given that she's going to endorse Joe Biden anyway.
Okay.
So just picking the Super Bowl, it's a foregone conclusion. So like doing it during the Super Bowl or doing it during one of her concerts, it doesn't matter.
All right.
What
I feel
are
like
the
that'd be
odds
bad
on
for her
that?
career.
Because I gotta contact my bookie.
I'll run you the numbers after the episode.
All right, thank
but
you.
it's Taylor Swift, and like from my optics, she's just become one of those pop stars that's like transcended everything.
Yeah.
So like it matters. Like she can steer. Like the idea is that she is so big that she's a government psyop out there to steer the election in the way of the Democratic vote for Biden.
I would have thought. I would have thought it would have been Lady Gaga. That was.
Nah, Lady Gaga's passe now, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought they
Yes.
were the same person.
They might be.
That's also the psyop.
Yeah.
They've been the same people the entire
This all
damn
sounds
time.
like McCarthyism to me, but all right.
I don't know one way or the other about it. I don't follow the politics of it, but I will say that as, a Swiftie fan, I think that if she tells me to vote a certain way, I'm going to vote that way.
She's been hurt so many times.
I'm not a Biden fan, but I'll do it. I'll bite the bullet if it's for America.
Do you call that hammer time?
Yeah. Yeah, I do call it hammer time. Have I met you, sir?
Why would you call it hammer time?
Name's Hammer. Just figured.
My nickname is
yeah.
The Hammer.
Yeah,
The
it's
Hammer.
yeah, you
Maybe
say the
watch
whole thing.
football once in a while. You know something the fuck about it.
Let's not
Yeah,
deride our football.
When did he play in the 60s?
Yeah, that's correct. 68.
Back when football was
Hammer
real.
time.
Yeah.
Justin, do you have any thoughts on the Taylor Swift nonsense?
No, I hate when they shoot back at her and during every single touchdown it would.
Yeah, and that's
Over
that's one of the big things about it too. That's why a lot of people didn't even want the Chiefs to win. They beat the Baltimore Ravens to
Right.
go to the Super Bowl, and like collectively America was like. And it's like the first time America's ever rooted for Baltimore in anything.
Right.
Like,
No,
it's
that's
certainly
a
not
fucking
helping them
fact.
economically.
That is, yeah. What were they, the Browns before they were the Ravens?
They were the Browns, yeah. But also
I was
Baltimore had a
voting for.
team-
I was rooting for the Lions because they haven't won anything ever.
Yeah, that was
Well, I mean, there was a moment there that when they came up to it, everybody was going to vote for them if you like the underdog type situation. You want to get somebody to the dance that's never been to the dance.
They
I
had
think the Ravens is a better name, at least.
Well, I
And
mean,
the Lions?
Well, maybe no, than the Browns.
Oh, yeah, that's
I'm
a
still on
terrible
that.
name. Yeah.
Still on that, yeah.
well, that
Not
was
the
named
Lions,
after
yeah.
the first owner or coach of the
Yes.
Cleveland Browns.
Oh,
Paul
really?
Brown.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I just assumed it
It
was,
was a
racist
major
thing.
figure in Ohio football. Like
I
Paul
just-
Brown Stadium is where I think the Bengals used to play. I think it's a different.
Used to, yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they were
for our
Cincinnati,
guest.
right?
Who do you wish was in the Super Bowl?
Oh, I'm not actually sure how to answer that. I'm a football fan. I don't have just a regular team that I root for. So like I don't know. Honestly, I just like a good game. I'm not
That's
sure
a
how to
cop-out
answer.
answer.
Sir.
It really is. That's a bullshit. I just hope everybody gets out there and has a
Yeah,
good
but you know
time.
what, though?
Everybody
I'd
has
like
fun.
to thank Jesus for bringing me onto
Yeah.
this podcast
Hold on.
today.
Like, I don't
I don't ever have any kind of football attire on. If you ever notice that, none, zero.
So what I'm hearing is the Devils.
You promoted yourself as a football expert, sir.
Yeah.
I
I do like.
demand record
Whoa,
pens.
so we're clear. I do like football. I am not an expert.
How do you feel about the Bills, the worst football team in the history of
Oh,
football?
yeah.
Are they the worst,
You're bringing up the Bills. All right,
A
so
team that was eliminated by the Kansas City
Yeah.
Chiefs.
Yeah, and man, were they eliminated. I mean, it was embarrassing.
Well,
it was
listen,
really
if-
sad.
If I could say my piece, I grew up a Raiders fan, which is its own type of suffering and punishment in itself. I mean, that this one is timely. R.I.P. Carl Weathers, 1978 game.
Yeah, just
71
today,
with
right?
the Raiders,
Yeah.
yep.
That's
That's
right.
crazy. I was actually
I
upset.
didn't realize he was a football player.
Yeah.
Well, he was undrafted in 1970, ended up on the Raiders.
I just saw that
Played,
today
I
on
think 8 or
That's
9
neat.
games
Oh.
in those 2
ESPN banner.
seasons.
I've met that man. He is he is a delight.
Yeah. And he saved Arnold Schwarzenegger's life.
And he saved Happy Gilmore's life.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
And then he also saved Rocky's career.
Yes.
He
Oh,
framed him to be Clobber Lang.
Jesus Christ, there's nothing this man hasn't done?
Yeah. Did you ever get his autograph when you met him?
I did. I don't remember. I think it was on one of the T-shirts. That we made.
I said like hello to him. I feel like that was it.
No,
Was
I
that a
got the
different
autograph.
amount?
It cost a little bit. I think it was like $50 to like get the autograph and
That's
picture.
worth it. I would have paid $1 million.
I still have the picture in some camera that I own, but I don't know where it
that's a
is.
weird
That's nebulous.
yeah.
It could be anywhere.
All right, guys, since we're talking about everything that's not
Other
about
than-
the Super
yes,
Bowl
yeah.
so far.
Oh, let's see. Sorry, I got
Those are the
tangented
parts
off. As far as the Super Bowl goes, like, because my team's never in it, largely I go to, like the local teams, the Giants, or, whatever the case may be, and a general hatred to New England.
Fuck them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fuck New England. I think we could all concur on that.
As a Dolphins fan, yes, fuck New England.
Yeah. And otherwise, when I actually, in full honesty, I didn't watch a single fucking game this year because I'm a little over the NFL. But I just generally hope for a good game. And this one could be.
Yeah.
But I don't really have a whole lot of interest in the teams this year, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I like
it's
the
just-
Eagles.
It's just a little run of the mill because this was
Yeah.
a Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Exactly right.
like there's different quarterbacks.
Oh,
now,
they've
like,
fought, or they've competed before?
Yeah,
in the
they've
Super
been in
Bowl?
the Super Bowl before. It was a couple years ago. The 49ers didn't have
2020, I believe.
Yeah, because they didn't have Brock Purdy as their quarterback then.
Correct.
I think it was Garoppolo or whatever
It was,
his name was.
yeah.
I love
yeah.
Janine Garofalo.
It was a Janine Garoppolo.
No? All right. That Ben Stiller show is underrated.
Oh, God damn it.
But one of the things that goes along with the Super Bowl when people don't actually want to watch the game are the commercials. Now, I'm a person that tries to live an ad-free lifestyle, so I hate every type of commercial. I don't care if it's this big Boffo production thing that they always do for the Super Bowl, or if it's like a 5-second ad I have to watch before a YouTube video. But what are your guys' thoughts on the Super Bowl commercials?
All right, so like when I was younger, like I guess there was an aspect of it that was kind of cool. I don't know if I ever really cared too much about the commercials themselves. They were always the talk, because you are right. Everybody is like, that's not particularly interested in the game. It's just like, oh, we're here for the $1 million plus a spot for, whatever commercials.
They go out of the corporations go out of their way to really grab your attention.
We got to see
And
the
they do-
Clydesdales.
If they, I mean, like basically, companies do this, all year round, but they really like pull all the fucking stops out when it's the Super Bowl because they've got the most eyes.
Yeah.
And it is effective. They do a good job. They get faces up there that you care about. If you've got fucking Keanu Reeves walks out and he wants to talk to me about fucking car insurance, I don't give a shit about the goddamn car insurance. But if like Keanu Reeves is going to do something funny for 30 seconds, I'm kind of into that, And if it's particularly good, then it'll grab my attention. And I feel like that's the gist of it. And indeed, that's the part of it that makes it somewhat universal as an American, because you've got the portion of Americans that love the Super Bowl and you've got everybody else. But the Super Bowl in and of itself has become something which is just Americana. So like if
Well, it's
you
like a
don't
cultural thing.
exactly.
You're right on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same reason as fucking Jews celebrate Christmas. It's that this isn't really about the thing that it's about. It's a thing
It's
that you
just a
just
fun
you
thing
enjoy
to
it as
do.
being an American. This is a part of Americana. So I think that the commercials, basically the commercialization of it, kind of brings people together in that regard.
Yeah, that's all.
I would say what I enjoy about it is everything around it. So you have like the Super Bowl party.
Yeah,
you have
absolutely.
like the wings, the food.
Yeah.
You're
Yep,
drinking beers with your friends.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
type of
That's-
situation.
Not to get off I love the commercials because typically they'll have a commercial for this blockbuster movie. Typically, it's something that I'm solely invested in.
Yeah, whatever like the
Superheroes?
biggest blockbuster.
Yeah,
that's
like
gonna
I
be
know they're
coming up
supposed to
that
have
year,
a
yeah.
Deadpool.
Independence Day 7.
Deadpool 3 is supposed to, the first commercial for that is supposed to air during the Super Bowl, and I'm excited for
What an
that.
attention getter.
But that's Deadpool sells. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, here's something from when we were all a little bit younger. So halftime would come on. I would switch over to MTV and watch Celebrity Deathmatch.
Oh, you remember that back in the
I was
day?
going to say, but like that because I'm
Because they
interested
would do
in
their own
the.
halftime show thing.
Can only
I'm
imagine
interested
what that
in
was like. I
the
didn't watch
Puppy
it.
Bowl and the Kitty halftime.
Oh, my mother
And,
loves the Puppy
Oh, they're
Bowl.
so great.
The
Like,
coaching is terrible.
Yeah.
well, the coaching is terrible, but they're so adorable, and I'd rather watch that for hours on hours than whatever football is going on.
Some of those commercials were pretty good back in the day. Me and my lady were actually watching a couple of them like last night because I knew I was coming on the show, and I was like, "Oh, let me see if there's anything good out there."
Somebody actually prepares.
Yeah, that's weird.
So
Getting
we're
drunk for 5 hours.
we watched this one. It was about, I don't know if you guys remember. It's probably like mid '90s. It was a Tabasco commercial with this guy sitting on the couch eating a slice of pizza. He's drenching this thing in Tabasco
Okay.
sauce. In comes this mosquito, bites him,
Oh, was it explode or something? Of course.
flies away, and boom.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a little bit of Americana.
It was very funny.
Yeah.
That recollection was brought to you by Pete's Hot Sauce.
I love that. And the rich get richer.
Texas Pete?
The one and the same.
I enjoy the wings aspect of it, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
The beer, the cultural phenomena of it. I feel like that's the part of it that's actually like, if you're not like super into the game, which I feel like for myself, I wish I was more into football because I love to gamble, but I know so little about what
I
the
only get
outcome is
less
gonna be.
and less and less into football as every year goes on.
I turned off of it, and like most of you guys know this, but I not that I was ever like super into it, but I
Right.
like full on stopped even entertaining it for a few years when they banned showboating, and I know they they brought it back.
I mean, I really
because-
appreciate
They
you
kinda
doing
brought
that,
it back,
but, like,
though.
as the most fair weather of NFL.
I
like,
love the showboating.
fans.
I mean, that
love
was a
the
big
show.
part of what's Primetime's
Deion
shtick.
Sanders?
Deion Sanders
Yeah.
was like, I mean, he was on multiple teams, and that was kind of the fun thing is to see him
High step.
be cocky.
Yeah. If somebody fucking makes a touchdown and wants to do the entirety of Rocky Horror Picture Show in the end zone,
if he wants to do the time warp, let him do it.
Like, own that shit. Yeah.
Because that's the entertaining part of it. It's not really that 5 seconds of football that you're playing.
Yeah, and it's like nonstop like penalties and flags and stupid bullshit that I don't care about. It's like the game isn't happening.
Gotten worse, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like if it was more contiguous and like just like the game kept going on, that'd be great.
So broken up now.
Yeah.
It's like it's more time essentially in non-play than play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more warlike than it is actual war. You know, like
I don't know what that means.
it's all about the planning and not the actual execution.
Can you imagine being at the game though, all that downtime? Because
God.
I like watching a football game at home because you go to a game, it's like there's so many whistles and timeouts, and people are just standing there, and you're like, all right, I guess I'll get that beer now. I don't know.
Yeah, if you could afford it.
Yeah, for $27.
Like how many beers can you afford if you're just pounding them while you're waiting for a
That's
timeout?
why you pregame.
You know?
Well,
So-
if you're getting in the door, you can probably afford it.
I guess that's true too.
But what I was going to say is that, first of all, one of the things that you can do is just, like, you're never short on taking a piss. Like, you know, it's just like, no, like, I got a lot of time.
Yeah.
But it's also, like, at least they try to contain the amount of time it takes for the game to happen. College football has a massive problem where their games run to, like, 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
It's too long.
Yeah, it's way too long.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine sitting anywhere for 4.5 hours.
Well, it's also, like, just watching it, like, on TV, you're like, all right, just end.
Right.
Well, I could always switch a channel and just watch something stupid or just get up and not watch it at all.
And be at home.
Yeah. It's like, I'll just like get on my phone and play fucking Candy Crush. All right. Like, I'll wait till it starts getting interesting again. If it does.
Yeah.
If it does.
It's always Candy Crush.
All right, guys, but one of the things that I wanted to actually bring up, because you mentioned one of the commercials, one of the iconic ones was, if you guys remember the frogs.
Yes.
Oh,
of
the
course.
Budweiser.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Haven't thought about that in 20 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was one of the more iconic commercials
I
that came
agree.
out of it.
That invoked a core memory of the "What's up?" thing.
Yeah, one of the worst ones.
Yeah.
But 3D made
What
it
about
good.
the Old Spice one with the guy on the horse? Now I'm on a
That
horse.
was all right. Those were all right for at the beginning, and then it just
then
grew
they
old.
got played out. Yeah. Now I'm on a horse.
I think the Clydesdales kowtowing to the Twin Tower thing was like where it broke my brain with commercials, and then I just don't remember anything since.
It was like 4 minutes of horses walking through snow.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with shitty beer.
And then drink Budweiser.
Another part of the Super Bowl that people get excited about that has nothing to do with the actual football game itself is the halftime.
Yeah.
There's only been one good one, and that's when we got to see Janet Jackson's tit.
And see, I was going to say that was miserable for me, but I'm willing to hear you out.
I'd rather see like a famous person's tit than anything.
Did they call that Nipplegate? I'm not sure.
Yes,
They might
call that
have, yeah.
Nipplegate, Yes.
That's awesome.
And like she got a lot of shit for it, which it was beyond everybody's control. Really,
No, I'm
but-
sorry. That was totally planned.
Yeah, that was
far as I'm
that
concerned, that was
didn't
totally
happen
planned.
by accident. Yeah.
Just Velcro covering that tit. That's it.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought that up, Moses, because the one year that I actually wanted the wardrobe malfunction was the year Katy Perry.
I can see
did this
that.
halftime
Yeah,
because she's got big
she's
old
got
tits.
yeah.
And
Big old
I
bitties.
didn't- and we never got it. I was very upset. The
No.
one year that we won, like if there were
Well, that's
more,
not what they're going to give you then.
No, I was hoping for that to happen on Sesame Street when she was with Elma.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Well, what even is the halftime show this year?
it
that
is
been-
Usher. Post Malone,
Malone,
and
right.
one
Reba
it's,
McEntire, isn't
Reba.
it?
Yeah, it's Reba. Yeah, so
It's weird.
It's bizarre, but they're all bizarre. Now.
No, they
was
all
the-
because they try to do these big mashup things.
Yeah.
They use it as a thing. Like of the very few I remember Prince playing in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
remember that
50
one.
Cent
Awesome.
hanging from the fucking ceiling of this.
That was 50 Cent, right?
50 Cent was hanging there like
Yeah.
it was Dr. Dre.
That
but
was
Yeah.
one of the dumbest
And
things
Eminem.
that I've
Eminem
seen
was there.
in
That was
my
last year, right?
entire
It was,
life.
and it was weird because fucking 50 Cent is just hanging upside down on this set piece in the middle of the field. And I'm like, what are we doing here?
He came out of nowhere, too.
Kind
You
of,
didn't
yeah.
think it was going to be that dumb. But then
No,
they
it was,
delivered.
like because it was great because like I think it opened with Dre playing piano like that. Dun, dun, dun,
It
like
opened
that.
with
someone on a
Dre,
high
you had
wire.
Snoop
I don't
Dogg
remember her
there.
name.
That was
Yeah.
Katy Perry or Lady Gaga. I think.
No. It
At
was
the same thing?
There was some.
I
there
don't
was
Just
a,
like a Mad
there was a
Libs.
lady
Yeah.
singer. I can't
Maybe
remember
it
her name.
was.
She
It must have been
she was
like
pregnant. She was
Lil Kim
pregnant.
or something. Maybe
She was pregnant. I can't remember.
was Lil Kim in that?
I don't
posse?
remember.
I don't know.
Was the pregnant one? Wasn't that last year? Wasn't that Rihanna?
Right. Okay. That is it. And then,
Oh,
then
that
they
wasn't-
mashed into Dr. Dre and Eminem, or am I
That
thinking
wasn't
of
the
two
last
different
one,
ones?
was it? I think that was like 2 years ago or so.
No, they all just like I said, they all kind of mashed together.
Yeah,
It's a
well,
halftime show. Who
They're all
cares?
preposterous. Actually, I don't even. Did anybody show up for Rihanna last year? I don't think so because
I don't remember.
I think I straight up just didn't watch it last year.
Empty seats,
I-
crickets.
I was hoping somebody would like hit her with a chair and then like take off her mask. Like, my God, it's Kanye! What's he doing
the whole time.
Oh man, that's what the Super Bowl needs is J.R. Ross
That's
doing
yeah.
some play-by-play.
It's already ridiculous.
Right.
Just bring
Yeah.
the wrestling
Yes.
component.
Give me
into
Lawler
it.
and
Get into it.
J.R.
Just
and
get
that's
into
it.
the meat of it and be
Yeah.
fucking super weird about
The
it.
fact that they put a pregnant lady up to, I don't know, 100 feet or whatever, just ridiculous.
Yeah,
like
well,
so stupid.
Rihanna's used to getting beat.
But
so.
I mean, come on.
And the, the platforms reminded me of like
Brown, don't we?
the platforms reminded me of a Super Mario Brothers level. It's just like,
Oh, right. It was a platformer, yeah.
I think it's funny. We're all joking about this now, and we've all got opinions. God knows I do. But you flash forward about 3 to 5 years from now, that whole halftime show is going to be 100%
Underwater?
CGI, AI
Yeah.
bullshit. There's
But
going to
at
be
least
nobody
they'll
that
have
you
like
know in
Jimi
it.
Hendrix and Tupac playing together.
Yeah, but there's no tits getting slipped out when it's
Well,
fucking
I
AI,
know.
and you got to clear it in the first place.
We might
with
have
the fucking
AI
whoever it is.
guitars burning or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. They'll just bring somebody back.
Yeah.
It'll be the Beatles.
Ugh, well, we don't
There you
need
go.
that.
Yeah, you happy now?
Hammer time.
Yeah, defend it.
I've never been happy.
I will say this though, that little stretch they had at Super Bowl halftimes where it was just one act, like when it was just Paul McCartney,
Yeah,
when it was
yeah.
just Bruce
Yeah, I think, like,
Springsteen,
the
when it was
Rolling
just
Stones
The Who,
did it, and
when
it was-
just
yeah.
the Rolling Stones. It was just Tom Petty. That was the best. It caught
They
a
were
lot
great.
of shit back then,
Yeah.
but that was the best time.
Yeah.
It was just like they were playing a little mini concert and they fucked
That's
off.
exactly what it was. It
Yeah.
was like a mini concert. They kind of like did a super mash of their hits.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case may be. And like that was it. Cool, whatever. Now it's just like we just jam all the weirdest people together and
And see what they do.
there you go.
To me, it's a little bit more entertaining because I don't know if you guys remember the, I think it was the 95 Super Bowl between the 49ers and the San Diego Chargers. It had some sort of weird, like, Aladdin, freaking Mid-Eastern.
Oh,
type
Disney
thing.
bought in.
Magic Johnson was in that, I think. I
Yeah,
think he was there for it or something.
Magic, the
Yes.
basketball player.
Yes, he was
Magic
there. I'm
Johnson.
almost positive.
Mr. HIV, yeah.
Correct.
All right.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
He's
You
one
got
of the
like
only.
beef?
Yeah, a little bit. He's the only one that I know that's been cured.
Sorry, Dan. Didn't mean to interrupt
Well,
you.
I mean, South Park explained that, so
That's fair.
Oh, I don't watch South Park, but all right.
I know you do.
I'll go back to that.
But yes, continue. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, to me, I was like 9 years old, and I was watching that, and I'm like,
How
this
old
is...
are you?
I'm an old man. And I was like, this is bizarre. What
Right.
the hell does this have to do with, like, football? And that Super Bowl was already atrocious, so I was just like, Game Gear, turn on.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you're showing your age. Like, in '95, I think that's when Aladdin came out, right?
It was around that.
Around
Probably
that time?
there, yeah.
I think it was like the one before that, or maybe 2 years before that, because I watched all the Super Bowls then because the Bills played the Cowboys a couple, and I knew all those. My dad's a huge Bills fan. Michael Jackson did one. Where
Yes,
they
he
had,
did, yeah.
They had everybody in there like pull a mirror up or pull a sign up or whatever, and I thought that was kind of neat, but I was a kid, so is it neat now? I don't know.
Who knows how it aged, but
So if anybody was screaming at us just now as we were saying all of this, it wasn't Aladdin themed. It was Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Forbidden Eye.
that's worse
What the
because I don't
fuck?
even know what that is. Is that just a ride at Disney or Universal?
I have no idea, but it was produced by Disney, so we're right on that. And
yeah.
it was Indiana Jones Adventure, Temple of the Forbidden Eye. Yeah, Disneyland, yeah.
Oh, okay.
What
Wow.
the fuck? Like,
Yeah,
that's
it's
weird.
like I heard a lot of words, but they didn't
Yeah.
like get to where they needed to be in my brain.
It's just, yeah, that's bizarre to me. And that's probably why I didn't enjoy it too much, because there was no actual, like, the good parts from Indiana Jones.
Yeah, because like, can you remember a song from any Indiana Jones film? No, no, you can't. I know you can't. Like, don't try. Like, I know you can't. That was a rhetorical question.
Well, it's funny. So like I think I've always just like walked away from the television whenever like the halftime show happens. Like I said, I remember very few. I remember the Prince one. I remember the one where the year the power went out.
Oh, yeah, that was the Ravens 49ers.
Yes.
Yep.
And like that's really all I fucking remember.
For me to watch any of it, I need to be invested in some element. And for myself, it's like I really don't care about most most of the teams that are playing. So it's like if the Eagles happen to be in it, I care a tiny bit. If it's another regional team to where I live in New Jersey, then sure, I can kind of get behind it. But other than that, it's just that social phenomena, essentially.
Well,
and the rest of it is fucking boring.
When a local team is in the game, I kind of like I'm kind of like an energy like vampire. I just suck off of everybody's energy. I'm like, oh, this is exciting for these people.
Yeah.
I guess I'm stoked too.
You've got the Bills because your pop likes them, and like everybody, like I've got a few different teams that I'll like kind of get behind a little bit. You know, you've got the Dolphins, which like I pay attention to that because you've enjoyed them since we were kids, right?
Well, enjoyed is a generous way.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You've been miserable being a fan of the Dolphins since we were
Dan and I
kids.
used to sit at the pub, myself being a Raiders fan and him being a Dolphins fan, just like, well, how much are we drinking today?
Yeah, right? They're in Vegas now or some shit. It's crazy.
They're the Vegas Raiders.
And it's
now.
like now I have like no horse in the race, but I've kind of like hitched my wagon up a little bit to the Eagles, and it's actually in direct antithesis to what I love about them is exactly what you despise about them, Dan. That I don't really care about the outcome of it. Like I'm happy if the Patriots don't win anything ever again, and if I was like if I was the equivalent of like future dictator of this country, I would just ban them all together, and that would just be the end of it.
Here's the thing, though,
go ahead.
Mr. Williamson. We're on the cusp of having another Patriots. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah, well, that is
Who are
Mahomes?
the new Patriots?
Yeah, the Chiefs.
The Chiefs are the new one?
Have been winning the Super. They won the Super Bowl last year, I believe.
Yep.
And they won it before. I'm gonna have to look.
They've been in the running a bunch.
Taylor Swift deserves it, though.
So here's
Oh my God.
here's another thing.
Is she
though.
not a member of that team?
Let our expert speak.
So here's another thing. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm pretty sure I heard that Tom Brady just is signing or already signed a deal with Fox to be a commentator.
I think so.
which is fantastic.
Will we never
Yes.
be rid of him?
No.
No.
It's terrible.
No.
We will only have quarterbacks that will become more of a pain in the
Yes.
ass than he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Tony Romo, and now it's, I guess.
Tony Romo never won anything though. So
What, didn't he?
was
I thought the Cowboys won a bunch of shit.
No.
The last time the
Troy
Cowboys won
is it
Super
Troy
Bowl-
Aikman?
Yeah. And that was 94.
all right.
The last time
Yeah.
they won anything.
I don't follow.
Listen, I almost dropped a sweet summer child on you.
I don't know much about football, and the only time I ever cared was when I was in a gambling thing at work, where I was like, "Oh, Saints are going to win it," and oddly enough, they had one of the greatest seasons ever that when they won the Super Bowl, and I was just like collecting money that year, and I have no idea about sports. Like I was just
that's
like,
the thing about sports betting.
it was just weird. Like everybody's pissed at me, and I just was like, once I start winning, of course I'm going to be cocky, and like I'm already inherently cocky.
I have a little side story, which Dan, you might want to edit this out of the podcast.
Oh my
I don't know if you want to or not, but are you familiar with when Mr. Mechanic and I were betting on we were betting on the Super Bowl? What was it 2 years ago?
I think so.
Yeah.
You were betting on the Super Bowl between
the mic.
the Rams and the
So
Bengals.
you do know.
Yes, I do remember this.
Yeah. And while I think that the gist of it is as far as the actual teams and the sportsmanship and the game and so on and so forth goes, that's irrelevant. But I just wanted to comment on how enjoyable it was that when I got to fill out those boxes, I put swastikas in there because I'm Jewish and I'm allowed. And then I was the first. I was the first one. I think I was the first one to fill it out. And he was like, you guys are my friends, so you fill it out. You get into the ground
Who
floor.
was running this game?
This was Steve Bartender.
Oh, okay.
Bartender Steve. And he's like, you guys get into the ground floor, and I obviously grabbed it right away, which is foolish of him because he knows that I don't care about football. And I filled
Listen,
in.
if you're buying a box, money's money.
Oh, exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised you didn't just draw Dixon.
I put down my $100 and I did a fucking diagonal with swastikas and then you filled out yours. And when he got it back, he was quite displeased. But you can fill in the dots there.
I just wanted to say I'm pretty sure that was last year because I won like $500 from these boxes.
I remember distinctly it was the year that the Rams and the Bengals played because I wanted to watch that game because I watch college football and Joe Burrow was is the quarterback for the Bengals, so I wanted to see either if he was going to win or if Matt Stafford, who had never won anything with the Lions, and he just got traded that year to the Rams. So I was actually kind of interested in that Super Bowl that
I
year.
do kind of remember this interaction going on because we were at Icarus and we were watching a game, me and you, like we were waiting for a beer or whatever, and we were kind
one
of
of those
talking
long
about
pours.
it. Yeah. Well, I forget where we're going. And you were like, we were like legitimately talking about football because a friend of mine was a Rams fan.
Yeah.
And you were just like pissed because how does he keep knowing who's going to win? Because he doesn't know anything about football.
Well, that's
And you're,
often how it
kind of
goes.
venting a
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
and I'm sure it's aggravating
great
because
guesser.
he doesn't know anything about football, like a little bit more than I do. But you were a little salty.
I thought that you and I were just betting in my basement about the game that you guys are talking about, and I thought last year was the Super Bowl boxes that I won. It doesn't.
That
I could be
the
wrong.
case. I remember watching the Super Bowl last year with you.
Correct.
And I don't remember you mentioning that you made any bets with.
No, it was the year before.
Yeah.
It was the year before.
And that was the year. Last year was the Kansas City Chiefs. In 2021, they lost to the Tom Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
And in 2020, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the 49ers. So we have a repeat of the 2020 Super Bowl
Yep.
and a chance for them to win
either of
3.
those.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean, granted, I shouldn't, but I feel like I should kind of remember last year's Super Bowl.
We should all remember a lot.
Listen, I am almost certain I just kind of slept through that.
Yeah, I
Super
probably
Bowl
didn't watch it
last
at all,
year.
but
to be fair, the last 2 Super Bowls were at least close because I remember
Right.
watching well, maybe the Bengals will pull this off. And then last year between the Chiefs and the Eagles, I'm looking at the score right now, 35, excuse me. I don't remember anything about the game.
I
was just
kind of
like,
do remember the Eagles being in it because of other outstanding things, but
I just want to be back in Philly the next time that the Eagles do really anything.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
I
of
love
course you do.
seeing how Philadelphians,
Aren't they
proud
notorious?
Philadelphians.
You were there for something, right? I don't know if it was football.
Yeah, it was actually.
shortly
This goes
after,
to
wasn't it?
Yeah, this goes to show you how little I follow it. I don't even know which fucking game it was, but yeah, regardless, it was. I know that the Eagles won.
I think it was wasn't it the NFC Championship game?
I think
might have
that
been.
might have been
Might
the
have
case,
been.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
He was inadvertently there.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
happened to be staying at the nicest fucking hotel. I can't remember the name.
Right
of it.
across from Town Hall
I was
there.
right across
Yeah.
from Town Hall, and yeah, so I was in the bar lobby of this super fucking fancy hotel, nicest place I've ever
oh,
stayed.
you met the mayor, no?
I met the mayor of
Yeah.
fucking Philadelphia. He's sitting next, and at the time I was dating a young lady who was, as we all know,
Yep.
very
An
much so
Eagles
into the
fan.
Giants.
Yeah.
She was a
Oh,
Giants
I thought she was
fan.
an Eagles fan.
No, she was
Opposite.
talking so much
Oh,
fucking
maybe that's
shit.
why I remember
this
the Eagles
room,
so much then.
This lobby of this really legit fucking fancy ass hotel was filled with Eagles gear. Everyone there was rocking Eagles shit. We're sitting next
it's
to
Philadelphia.
The mayor.
Why would
Yeah.
they?
Well,
Why
no,
would it be
rightfully
Jets?
so. And she was talking shit. She was talking shit about the Eagles and going on about the Giants and wanted me
In
to
the
be on
heart
board.
of Eagles.
Yeah, and
Yeah, you
and
almost
was
got
just
in a fight because of that, no?
Well, it was. I mean, yes, to a degree.
Yeah.
But she was. We ended up sitting down. There was no room at this fucking bar, and somebody was this fucking old black man was like, "Hey, you can take this seat right here, sit down." Shooting the shit and what have you. She's continuing to talk nonsense. I do not date this person anymore.
But you did.
Yeah, she's continuing to talk shit, and I was just I don't really fucking care either way. But we are where these people are
Yeah.
from, so be respectful.
Do as the
you know?
Romans, at least.
And she ends up getting into a verbal argument. It was polite. She wasn't completely out of line or anything, but it was more than I was comfortable with. And this old black man who gave us his seats, he's going back and forth with her and so on and so forth. And eventually he goes to use the bathroom or something. He walks away. Bartender comes over and he's like, "Hey, that old man bought you guys some drinks." Despite the fight that's happening. And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's so nice." When he gets back, I'll thank him. And he leans forward, and this is fucking the black guy working behind the bar. And he's just like, "You do know who that is, right?" And I was like, "No, I'm sorry. Who
Not
the
a
fuck
clue.
is that?" And he's like, "That's the fucking mayor." I'm like, "Oh my
It
God."
was like meeting Harry Carey's wife all over again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
I
was
have no
he
idea
comes
who that
back,
is.
And he's chill as fuck, and he's just like, no big deal,
Which was great too because as soon as that happened, or at least a little bit later, you sent me a text. I'm like, "Do you know the mayor of Philadelphia?" Because I think I met him. And
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a lot to go by here.
Yeah.
man. And then you sent me a picture, and I'm like, "Oh, he looks familiar, but I don't know his name." And then I was just scrambling.
Yeah.
And because the picture I'm looking at it right now is Michael Nutter.
Yes.
Michael Nutter, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
What he looked like in the picture was massively different than the picture
is,
that
like,
is
official
right there.
picture? Yeah.
And so I was just like, that's the closest thing. Is this right?
Yeah.
Are you sure all these blacks don't look the same?
There it is.
Yeah,
there it
you have
Moses.
it.
But yeah, no, it was quite ridiculous. That said, so we ended up rounding up our evening down there at the bar. It was being that I was the only person there who was with someone who was a Giants fan. It was a bit difficult. So it was going the way of the Eagles, at least at that time. So we saddled up. We went back up to the room, and then it was maybe like an hour later. I guess it had ended and what have you. We weren't watching it, and you could hear like marching in the streets. And
The goose stepping?
yeah, we were up at like, I don't know, we were in the like the fancy hotel right across the street from the mayor's mansion.
I can't remember what it is, but it's a very prominent
Yeah, exactly.
hotel. Yeah.
So let's say that we were up at like the 20th story, something like that, right? So you can hear like marching, like that goose stepping, as you said. You know, you just hear it in unison, do, like that. And I was like, okay.
And it's just footsteps. It's not like chanting.
Yeah, because everything else got really quiet. It's actually funny, and I'll digress a little bit. While we were at like a bar earlier in the evening, and when we were walking back to the hotel before any of this happened, before we saw all of the Eagles gear everywhere, I said to her, I was like, wow, it's really quiet out tonight.
It's the calm before the storm.
Yeah, and then we got back to the hotel, which again, because of where it was located, it was a fancy place with rich people. We got there, and there was like 1,000 police officers, and I was like, oh shit, fucking cops. I was like, just be polite, let's not draw any attention. And I made it a point. I was like, there's a lot of cops out. It's really weird. And like I was like walking past one of them, and I was like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, just getting ready. I'm like, all right.
For what? Yeah, I don't know.
And it never crossed my mind that it wasn't about me. So we go up to the room. That story that I just told you happened. Then we're up in the room and we hear the goose stepping. And I looked out the window, and indeed, it was like all of the police for like all of Philadelphia, I guess, like their SWAT teams. And they were just forming lines. And then you waited another half an hour, and the Phillies fans showed up. And it was
Eagles
like
fans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My apologies. Yeah,
this is
the
baseball.
Philadelphia
Baseball.
fans showed
Phillies,
up. Yeah.
they don't got anything to worry about.
Philly Fanatic was out there.
Yeah, they got the
Fanatic.
fanatic. That's all that
Honestly,
they
the
need.
fanatic probably was out there.
To be fair, Moses, Phillies have won a World Series
Yes,
recently.
they
All
have.
right.
The
but
only two Philadelphia teams you really should be dragging are the Flyers and the Sixers. And actually, the Sixers have been like
I forgot about the
decent.
Sixers.
Decent.
well,
At least
the
they-
Sixers had Charles Barkley, so I can't.
It's actually a little detour from your story, how interesting the Philadelphia sports dynamic has won. Because when I was a kid, like it was Eagles and Flyers.
Right.
And the Phillies sucked and the
Right.
Sixers
It was
sucked.
never
Exactly right,
Sixers,
yeah.
really.
Until Allen Iverson. But then,
But what did he play for, like 4 seasons?
yeah, but they went to the NBA Finals
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
They lost, I think, in 5 to the Lakers, but still, it was more than
Well, the Lakers had a
It
stat
was,
team.
it was more than they had done in a
Yeah.
minute.
Well, I know basketball more than I know
The
football.
Sixers
so I
now
don't know.
have Joel Embiid, who is good, but is hurt constantly, so he's not that good.
But the Eagles have won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The Phillies have won World
Yeah,
Series.
yeah, no, they have one. Yeah.
The Sixers haven't won anything, but they're kind of like presented still
They're
in a way that
presenting.
they're
They're one of
they're
competitive.
the. They're one of the originals, though.
The Flyers are trash. Like they're good this year right now, but you don't
yeah.
know if they're actually going to maintain being good. But they haven't won dick since 1975. I'm sorry.
Is that when they had Lindros? Or
No, they went to the Stanley Cup final with Lindros in 1997, and they got swept by the Detroit Red Wings. And then in 2010, they lost in 6 to the Chicago Blackhawks.
okay.
Isn't it funny how we keep sliding into sports that
Yeah,
we
other
care
sport.
about?
Anything but football. We're like America with measurement. Like anything but what anybody uses.
Anyway, finish your story, sir.
Yeah.
We heard the goose stepping outside, peered out the windows. Indeed, there was multiple groups that were gathering for some sort of an
Good thing you
onslaught.
were on the 20th floor because it's almost the attic, so you got that that Helen Keller feel.
I wish that was the
you've
case.
Been looking to slide Helen
He's been
Keller into
waiting for
somewhere.
that.
He's an agent of chaos. You know exactly what
the
he's going to do.
Giants fan that I was with was desperate to get downstairs, and I
Oh,
said,
because you wanted to fight all of Philadelphia.
And I said
Sure.
straight up, I was like, if I go down there, I'm going to have to defend you, which means that I'm going to get the shit kicked out of me by like 20 angry Philadelphians.
Almost immediately.
Almost immediately. And also the cops, like we were watching this from like our fucking ivory tower. And like I'm just like looking down on this. And like the cops were like all that it's like, don't get me wrong, these Philadelphia fans were like basically like they were asking for it, obviously. But at the same time, the cops were just like itching to fucking beat the shit out of somebody.
Isn't
Well, they're all high on Crisco from screen of
Fucking A, right?
Aren't Philadelphia fans notoriously known as being like a rowdy bunch? Nuts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Quite like the Boston Red Sox fans.
I think
or
it's just because
whatever.
they got caught on film with it. Because I feel like you can go anywhere and go
You
have
think?
Well, I mean,
ridiculous
a lot of
fans.
places are like that. Like LA fans, you might actually die at a Dodgers game.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
but that's
like,
that's a regular game.
as somebody who's gone to dozens and dozens of Philadelphia Flyers games, they absolutely deserve this reputation.
Sure.
I left a playoff game where they got eliminated by the Pittsburgh Penguins, and as I'm walking out, I can swear I just saw an orange tornado because they were just all like wailing on each other. And then the other thing that it might have even been that same night, I just sat in my car and waited for traffic to die down, and then I just see like this couple. And they're probably drunk, but still not really excusable.
Right.
Like, the woman is, like, being a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, she's just shouting at the guy, and he just shoved her down. I'm like, I just witnessed, like, a domestic violence situation.
Everybody's equal, and nobody has any standing.
Yeah, I need to get the fuck out of this city. That's when I just put it in reverse and be like, out of here.
Roll them up.
I feel like Philly's claim to fame, because, like, they are a rough and rowdy city when it comes to that shit, but, like, their claim to fame is, like, the coverage of the cops having to go out and Crisco all the polls.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, incredible.
When the Phillies are winning,
I've heard that, but I didn't know it was Philadelphia.
It's a real thing. Yeah. When I was there, and again, it's like all in hindsight for me, but it's like I saw all of these cops out and I didn't realize what was happening. But likewise, there was like, you look back on it and it's like there was guardrails set up everywhere. They were doing barriers in multiple places. They closed off whole roads. And it's like the only reason that I was treated decently is because I was walking back to a fancy place. And now like at first I was like, oh man, these fucking cops, I got to look out for them. And now I look back on it and I'm like, those cops were being super nice to me because they were thinking, we're going to protect you tonight.
Yes.
From the rioters.
You clearly have money and you deserve to be protected.
Yeah, right. You're staying in this fancy hotel. We're going to take care of you, you know?
All right, guys. One thing before we drop that entirely, I can confirm it was the NFC Championship game because the Eagles' first playoff game, they had to bye. They were the number 1 seed. They played the Giants in the second round. And I remember distinctly, we were at a party together, and then you had to go with your lady to another house to watch the game.
Oh, that's right. I remember this. Yeah.
So that was our little confirmation.
If you want any photos for the shorts, Dan, I do have some of the riot police over there in Philadelphia.
That story was not a minute.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was a quick version.
But one thing, guys, that is often brought up after the Super Bowl is that the Monday after the Super Bowl should be a holiday, which I think is kind of a bullshit argument. But like
for recovery?
Yeah, because essentially, like, oh, the Super Bowl is such a big deal. Everyone has a party, so like we're all drunk. We should have that day off.
I can absolutely tell you, it is like the number one day that the most people call out at my job.
That's so bizarre to me because...
Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
I just want to know why they don't make the Super Bowl on a Saturday.
That's what I was going to
This
say.
doesn't make any
That's a good
sense to me.
point,
I
too,
can't stand it. I wrote that down to paper. Why don't they make the Super Bowl on a Saturday?
Did we cover a lot of your notes?
Actually,
or?
all of it.
Oh, all right. As long as you did it for a reason.
You picked up Nipplegate.
Well, that's the only thing I know about the Super Bowl is that, occasionally there'll be a nipple.
Yeah, once.
Well,
I wanted Katy Perry's nipple, but I didn't get it.
I know. We all want Katy Perry.
Here we are wanting.
That's why she's such a sultry.
Okay. But Justin, to that point, if you want the day off after the Super Bowl, just move the Super Bowl to a Saturday, since everyone is going to be out and about at a party watching the game on a Saturday, and nothing's going to be competing with it anyway, because the NFL is not going to be worried about like, oh, the Rangers are playing the Devils tonight.
No.
They're not. They don't. Care.
Nobody's wearing. That's why they have those separated.
Well, they're not really separated. It's actually, sidetrack, since we're telling Super Bowl stories. The second time the Giants beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, I was hosting a Super Bowl party at my apartment. But my brother and I had gone to a Rangers-Flyers game then, and it was in Madison Square Garden. And if my brother and I are going to hockey games, the alcohol will be flowing.
Yes.
So Red Rocket.
So I'm like, I realized that I had spent too much time in Manhattan drinking with my brother. So now I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I have an obligation. I have an hour and a half drive at least, or at least take the train and then go from Metro Park down to where we're at. So I'm flying down the Parkway with no regard for the fact that I've been drinking all day. And as you are picturing this story, and you can see what's about to unfold.
Oh, yes.
I do, in fact, get pulled over, and I'm like, well, this is not good.
There goes my life.
That's the end of Producer Dan. We knew him well.
That is the end of Producer Dan as we know him. And I have to do my yes, sir, no excuse, sir type of thing when I get pulled over. And meanwhile, friend of the show, Kate, is texting me because she was showing up with you. Mr. Williamson, despite the fact that we've just met you.
We always just meet.
I get around.
And she's texting me the entire time, and then I'm like, I'm not really lying. So I'm like, yeah, I just got pulled over. But then I do start lying because as I start to see that I'm gonna get off with like, no ticket or a warning or whatever, I'm like, oh, they're taking a long time.
Yep.
No, they're arresting me.
This is when you run into the woods.
I gotta give you a PBA card.
Yeah, you should. I needed it last week.
No. Well, I'll get you one. I still got to get the one for the kids, but they don't use them, so you could have them.
Anyway, bringing it back to...
Wait, your kids drink?
Not really.
Anyway,
One smokes a lot of weed, but...
Anyway, bringing it back to the Super Bowl day off thing. There's a need to move it to Saturday. There's no need to take the Monday off. Like, I get it. You just want an extra holiday.
There is, even if it's on a Sunday, there's no need to... Like, I've drinking a lot in my time, and it's never been because of sports, and I've showed up to work the next day.
Oh, also, too, you know what you could do? You could move the damn game to, like, 3. In the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then, like, everyone can drink.
Yeah.
And you could drink for 7 hours, and it's still 10.
Right.
They have
Plenty of time.
They have no incentive to do that.
They don't,
Because if
no.
you
No,
want to
you're
watch the
absolutely
game, you're going to watch it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter when they fucking show it. If it started at midnight, you're going to watch
Also
it.
depends on if it's West Coast or not, because
Well, that would be a noon start time.
Yeah.
But it starts at 3
Yeah.
in California.
Right.
So, like, what are they trying to do? Like, hit the Hawaii market?
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, that's probably a toughie.
In my personal opinion, if you're going to bitch and moan about, like, oh, we should get that Monday off, believe me, I would like to have another holiday.
I'll
I
take
don't
any
get
day you're going to give me. Don't get me wrong. But
Although I'm not going to get that day off because I work in media, so it's not
yeah.
happening.
I actually took this Monday off. I have it off. Finally.
You're one of those.
Well, it's also
Oh, yeah,
too,
absolutely.
most companies give you a floating holiday anyway,
Yeah.
so just
Yeah.
use it for the day after the Super Bowl, you freaking heathen.
I like the suffering.
This is why I just pretend to be Jewish all of the time.
There's always a holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
If the Jews
You know
don't
when the
have it, the
holidays are.
Indians have it.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but
Indians have a whole bunch of holidays.
Indians like Native Americans?
No, the Indians.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What
Real Indians.
What are their holidays?
I don't know what they are by fucking name, but I know they got 100 of them.
Fair enough. I mean, I guess I could be Hindu and Jewish.
Yeah, why couldn't you?
Yeah. Is there any overlap? You don't know.
There
actually.
might be,
Never mind.
but there might be. I don't really know.
Fair enough. Well, I'm off on Monday.
Done.
Question mark?
Oh, Jesus Christ, guys.
Do Native Americans actually have holidays?
Do Native Americans have holidays?
I'm just questioning. Like, I don't know
Wow,
of them.
that's a very frustrating question.
So stop giving it legs.
I'm
Stop
sorry.
acknowledging his questions that don't make any sense.
You guys are the worst yes-anders, and you just keep going and keep going.
I got a lot of
Well, maybe you're
questions.
the best yes-anders. I don't fuck you either way. But my God, yeah. Like I said, notoriously, I always know that Monday is going to be a shit show at work because so many people fucking call out, and it's wild. And like, I work for the government. I get enough holidays, believe me.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, oh man, yeah, move it up a little bit. It's because sometimes the games can go quite late, especially if they
I
drag
feel like
on.
the same with any sporting event. Like, why not just do the big ones on Saturdays?
Well, that's actually something that I'm just thinking about now. You can imagine how much bigger your bar business would be.
Oh, absolutely,
How
yeah.
much bigger that would
Yeah.
be if you moved it to a Saturday.
Yeah,
But maybe that's why they have it on Sundays to bolster that.
No.
No, because
Everybody wants to make money. It should be on a Saturday, not a Sunday. It's
But
6
they're already
o'clock.
making money on Saturdays regardless.
no,
you
but
guys
how much
are-
more money will they
You guys
make?
you're arguing a point though that they're not making.
Oh,
It's
no,
that
you're absolutely right.
you're saying would bars make more money? Would this play? They're not the bars.
Right.
No,
I'm
they're
looking
not.
at the conve-
NFL
looking at the
is the
convenience
one that's
factor.
making the money based on the date that they
Yeah, but
set.
it seems
so. If
very
if
inconvenient.
big bar,
Well, I would say though, it to be more of a cultural phenomenon. The Saturday. I know we already established Sunday football, blah 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 blah. But if you had it on a Saturday, it would actually it would be more because you can make it synonymous.
I agree with you, yeah.
a party. Like you,
they
can go
just
all
have
out.
they have no incentive to change it because all the bars in the country might want it to be that day. All the people might want it to be that day. But again, the people who are going to watch it, they're going to watch it whatever day it is. It could be a fucking Tuesday.
Yeah, it's like this, like arguing, like let's not have 4th of July on the 4th. Let's have it on the 5th because it lands on this
It's
day.
Saturday.
You know, yeah.
Yeah. No, I
It's like,
understand.
but it's just something so ingrained.
But here's the difference between like that is like listen, the 4th of July is always just going to happen on the actual day.
Well, that's
The Super Bowl
But
is something
why
that they
is
control.
it the 4th of July? That's the confusing part.
Yeah, it could be honestly any day.
It could just be any day. I think it's...
Yeah, 1 through
you know anything
7.
about
It
that,
could
Tim?
be like it doesn't matter because I guess they signed it that day.
These boys
No,
of mine.
that's actually not. No,
Oh, that's not
not
true
true.
either.
That's wrong.
Oh,
That's wrong.
I know
If
about
anything,
it.
it was the 2nd of July.
Well, then why don't we celebrate the 2nd? Is the 4th just
It
roll
took
off the tongue
months to
better?
get fully signed.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah, and it's always a Sunday.
Well, I mean, yeah. Like, listen, the NFL,
Well, it's always sunny.
they will never budge on anything. They are the gargantuan machine that just rolls and
Yeah.
rolls and rolls.
They're not going to change
It's a
because they don't
different
have to.
religion.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you're not wrong. Ideally, I would love for it to be on Saturday. It makes more sense. Saturday is kind of like the universally accepted, like, this is our day to, like, drink and shit.
Yeah.
Like, Sunday's our day. of
Everybody has
recovering
off
for-
Sunday,
I'll say-
even though everybody doesn't
I'll say
have off
this
Sunday.
as devil's advocate to that, though.
Sure.
It's just occurred to me with
Yeah,
that. Everybody's got Sunday. Most Americans who enjoy drinking are drinking on a Saturday. Not everybody's drinking on a Sunday. Football gives you an excuse to drink on a Sunday.
I don't need an excuse to drink on a Sunday.
That's because you're a real
I
American.
don't
Dan.
need no
Thank you for your
instructions
service
to know
by the
how
way.
to rock.
I mean, I did fight for the rights of every man, so I am
Yes,
a real American.
yes.
I think we've thanked you before. He is a true American.
But another reason you might not want to move it from Sunday to Saturday is that people don't even really watch the game, as we've kind of talked
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
You wait for the celebrity appearance like a Taylor Swift. You want to watch the commercials. You want to watch, the halftime show because, it's got some over-the-hill frickin', country singer or something
Think of
like
the
that.
odds of it. The odds for any given person that it's, if you are a fan of football, that the odds are likely that your team's not in it.
Very true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
So-
90% of the time your team
So
wouldn't be
there
in
can
it.
be varying degrees of caring about the teams or not caring about the teams or hating the teams or whatever the case may be. It's just the whole package is what.
Well, I mean,
The
Well,
food,
doesn't
the
this
food,
go
yeah,
down-
the beer,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
But what doesn't this go down to, like, the fandom of it? Where, like, yeah, your team isn't in it, but you want your division to
No,
win?
you would never
it doesn't
do
go
that.
like that?
No,
Is that not how it works? No?
Definitely don't want the Rangers to win when the Devils are playing.
Yeah,
no.
no.
I have no. Oh, you just want the opposite.
Yeah, so like if you're
so they're undeserving of that spot.
I mean,
Absolutely.
even if you're a Cowboys fan, you would root against the 49ers,
Right,
even though
right.
they haven't had a rivalry in like 30 years.
It's
Well,
largely
but, like,
a lot
I
of
get-
people hate teams in their division more than they.
Well, I
typical,
get the hate
absolutely.
of the teams. Like, I know the Cowboys get a lot of hate, but they also have, like, their fan base. And the same with the New England Patriots. Like, they're probably a little bit more so than the Cowboys in hatred. But, like, why wouldn't you want your at least a bit? Like, at least it keeps it closer. If you're, like, say it was, like, New England versus the San Diego Chargers. I don't know if that would be a thing.
They're the
but-
LA Chargers now.
Or LA
Chargers.
Chargers, whatever. I'm sorry.
No, I mean,
But...
San Diego.
No, I'm showing my age. But like, why wouldn't you want like the East Coast to win it over the West
Because
Coast?
people
Even
don't-
though like,
Yeah.
people don't care about territorial
No,
like anything
no.
like that.
but
It's
isn't
just-
that how that fucking fan base goes when
because
you
the-
have a team? Because it's
I would venture
typically
to tell you, most people, unless you like really care, don't even know what division any like.
well, that,
Exactly.
like,
Right.
and the super and this is actually the thing. This is a rant that I wanted to go on before we kind of get off and
Oh, yeah,
go
yeah,
more
well,
onto the actual game itself.
Go
is
Buffalo.
that I used to love watching the Super Bowl. I remember watching like back when I was like a teenager or a little younger. I used to love watching the Super Bowl, and the NFL has done everything in its power to make the Super Bowl unwatchable for somebody like me who actually likes sports.
Right,
yeah.
Because it's just like, first of all, I got to get hammered now with all of these freaking commercials that I don't even want to watch. It's like, oh, well, he stubbed his toe. Back to a commercial.
oh,
Yeah.
I thought you just said you had to get hammered just to watch it.
I mean, I
'Cause,
probably do now.
I get that sentiment, but it's for pro wrestling.
I mean,
I've watched some of them with you, and I'm like,
Yeah, I
oh, I
appreciate
did
that
not bring
too.
enough beer for this.
And like it's hard enough to watch like a regular game these days
Yes,
with the amount of
absolutely,
breaks.
yeah.
But like especially with the Super Bowl, it seems like it's almost engineered so they
To-
can shove commercials.
they want to make the money, yeah.
And to a larger point, I'd like to bring in Justin with this too. I think that's happening with every sport because every
Yeah.
league
Yeah.
takes their fans for granted and they're like, all right, we already have you. You're coming back no matter what we do.
Right.
So we're going to make this as, inclusive as humanly
that's
possible.
What it is. That's where they see they're trying to get more bucks
Yeah.
from.
Because oh, I'm not going to go away. Motherfucker, I am going to go away because I don't want to waste my... There were times where I was watching the Miami Dolphins and they had Jay Cutler as their quarterback. And I'm like, why do I do this to myself every year? And the next year, I didn't watch a single football game. I didn't even watch the Super Bowl. I was actually a genius that year because it was the year that the Rams and the Patriots played. And it was like a historically bad Super Bowl. But Justin, do you agree or disagree with that point? That
No, I agree. It's hard to watch, especially like even this year. Let's just put it in perspective. Like I said, I'm a pretty good football fan, sports fan in general. I didn't watch a lot of football this year. I really didn't. I feel like it's just so overplayed. I feel like when we were kids, we used to be able to be like, I can pick out 10 players right now on that team. Like, I don't know, maybe not 10, 6 players on that team. And be like, those are the guys. I have baseball cards of that shit. Like,
they used to have squad names that were cool and shit like that.
They had all that cool shit, but like now it's kind of like it's so overplayed. Like we're looking at commercials.
It's a machine.
It is. Yeah, it's
oversaturated.
It's just so annoying.
But the one thing that I kind of point to as to why that is, it's instead of valuing like teams and rivalries, like let's say we're going to value the rivalry between the Chiefs and the Raiders.
Sure.
Now it's like, oh, it's going to be about Patrick Mahomes versus it's not.
Well, yes, there is absolutely something to that.
Yeah.
It is weird that it gets to individual levels when there's like a lot of players on the team.
You need. They're trying to market like a star, a celebrity, so that way you can get to.
So what you're basically saying is, and this is huge now. So you got Patrick Mahomes, and the big controversy now is like, don't hit the quarterback. You hit the quarterback, huge penalty.
Yes, that's what it's become.
They're trying to like save a superstar, if you will, of the league. And guess what? Who's getting paid on that? The football, the NFL. Yeah. They want Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson.
Trending that way.
They want the name
to continue
so he can keep selling tickets.
That's the worst part about the game. When the Hammer over there used to play back in the day. That
wasn't like that back when I played.
Gridiron football, like ram it down their throats. Everybody's hitting, taking legs out, doing all the things, and now it's just don't touch them.
Yeah.
Don't touch him.
Well, it's a protection game.
You want to put flags in the quarterback so like you can just we got the flag, he's down.
I think in 30 years it will be flag football.
It goes to the point where like a quarterback, like I'll be biased and mention Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Now Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. He went to one in his career. Most people now will be like, I can't imagine him playing today. And I'm because he wouldn't be allowed to get hit.
Exactly right.
So like all of the times that like he could 94 and on when he tore his ACL or whatever the hell, and he just couldn't move anymore.
Right.
Like he was never an athletic quarterback to begin with.
But isn't that the same thing on any sport where it's getting kind of dumbed down
They're
just to
getting
protect?
it's soft.
It's
Yeah.
they're softening it
All the
just
sports
so
do.
they can get the longevity
It's
out
a
of the
universal
popular
sport thing.
Yeah.
So they can get paid. But like,
So you can promote your Tom Brady's, your Sidney
Yes.
Crosby's. So you can promote. I don't even know who LeBron
Money,
James.
Well, it's
money,
like
money.
the personalities
Yeah.
always existed, but now it's like they're really put to the top and they're protected at all costs.
Yeah. And instead of valuing and they want these teams' players to win championships. Like they want Crosby to win a Stanley Cup.
Right.
They want Tom Brady to win those Super Bowls. They don't want like a team that's just like, oh, there's no real stars on it to win. They don't want a Detroit Lions
No,
to
because
win.
It's not good for the city.
There's no good story there.
Yeah.
It's not good for the. Well, I guess it would be good for Detroit if they won, but
it would
I
be
don't
great
know.
for Detroit. It would breathe some new air into that.
It would be a limited story. There's nothing to
It's
really
not New
go
York.
There's no longevity to it.
That's the thing.
You don't have your hero.
The narrative needs the names now.
Yeah. And that's the thing that drives me away because I am a person that when I ever watch a hockey game or a football game, a very violent competitive sport, I want that vitriol between not the players because those players change every season. I want it between those two teams. And it's slowly going away everywhere. Even in college football where you had the rivalries are built on geopolitical grievances that date back to the 1800s.
Yeah.
But
and even that goes away
Hatfield,
because of
McCoy
money.
kinda
But
shit.
even still, because players change teams more frequently than they used to.
Yes.
Yes and no.
Yes.
I feel like they change a lot more frequently because back, I'm going to use NBA because that's what I kind of know.
Yeah.
Where of course you're not going to trade your fucking Michael Jordan, but they were never they would never trade Scottie Pippen either.
Well, they didn't
They're doing
really
it
want
now.
to sign him.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know he was like
They were trying to get rid of him for like, who was it, Kukoc?
they were trying, but like Kukoc wasn't like he
didn't come back. And then
he wasn't
eventually
great.
did go
Like
there,
he wasn't a great player either, but he was. I mean, he was the same quality as Pippen, but like, and honestly, Pippen was a good player, but like, and then they get Rodman, and it's like, yeah, Rodman's a personality, and granted. Defensive player of the year multiple fucking times and got the golden glove of whatever NBA is of steals and whatnot. But like
Rebounds?
in the same, like he was a defensive player multiple times. But he was getting that. He was a 3-point champion on the fucking Pistons when Isaiah was there
different role.
Yeah, different role, but like still, but like
even in
but
those
they
times.
didn't trade Rodman wasn't traded until the Bulls, and then after that he went over.
But that's even what I'm talking about, Moses, because in terms of rivalries back in those days in the NBA, you had Pistons Bulls, you had Pacers Knicks, you had Heat.
Celtics Lakers, yeah.
Well, Celtics Lakers was
That was always a thing, but
it was
still that was a
Pacers,
thing.
Knicks Pacers was huge.
Knicks Pacers was a huge one. Knicks Heat was a huge one. They used
Knicks
to
Bulls
fight.
was a big one.
Knicks Bulls was a big one. Those are dead and gone.
Yep.
Those rivalries
But
are
none of those
gone.
players ever I get that they were on other teams later and on after those rivalries, but nobody traded like how fucking what the hell's his name? He was on the Cavs. LeBron.
He signed with the Heat. Yeah.
Like
He had to make a big Buffalo
I know
thing
he's
of
been
it.
on multiple teams. It was like that wasn't a thing where you were just like superstar but getting traded constantly.
The way it is now, Kevin
Like
Durant.
it's just weird now. Like Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
like,
always moving.
Great player, but like kind of always moving. And it's like it kind of takes away from his personal legacy.
So, like, what I remember, like, going back a little bit, which I really like, you had these, like, crews of players that would get, like, nicknamed, like, say, like, the Orange Crush, the New York Sack Exchange.
Yeah.
The purple
the
people
st-
eaters.
still-
Yeah, the Purple Eagles.
Steel curtain.
Like, you had, like, crews of players that played well together,
Yeah.
like, and, like, made a name for themselves.
Yeah.
Now it's all about singular...
Singular stars.
No, I
Someone
remember
you can
when it
market.
used to be like, and this is still basketball because that's kind of all I know is like Anthony Hardaway and fucking Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
And they were like the fucking tag team. And then Anthony Hardaway kind of went away.
Yeah. And then Shaquille
Shaq
O'Neal
was
went to the LA
then he went to with Kobe.
Yeah.
And like, sure, like they were both great players. And granted, Kobe's a better player than Anthony Hardaway, but nobody, like fucking Detroit built this whole thing on fucking Grant Hill.
Yeah.
And where the fuck was Grant Hill? And where was Detroit Pistons ever? Like when he was playing, like they didn't do anything.
I blame the NBA for all of this too, because they're the one who set the precedent and like, oh, we're gonna model everything.
They
kind of
did it with the Michael Jordan kind of thing.
Well,
yeah.
that was
They
the
kinda-
first of
yeah,
that.
you're right.
Absolutely.
And so
kinda
every
did that, yeah.
every league has kind of tried to
Mimic
do that in some shape, way, or
when-
form.
Emulation.
Yeah.
They tried to emulate
Yeah.
the formula.
Which is
and-
funny enough because the NBA is the one that now has done it the worst.
Well, I swear.
Yeah.
And it was easier because NBA, you got 5 players on a fucking court.
Coercion, yeah.
Where all these other sports, you got more than 5 people at
6,
any given
11.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a little bit of time left. You guys actually want to talk about the game?
I have a question.
Justin?
So just real quick about, I guess not exactly the Super Bowl, but
Yeah.
one thing that really pisses me off, and I don't know how much you guys are actually watching football. So the kickoff.
Yeah.
The kickoff is stupid. They moved it up so many yards. So every time that there's a kickoff, it goes into the end zone. The guys run down the field, and then it's like, okay, what a waste of fucking time.
You know what? You're not wrong.
Why do
because
they even
it
do
has
this shit?
literally
I know.
become like a non-equation type thing. Where
I mean,
was-
I get that it's like, all right, so we're trying to save the players from not getting hurt, but like, do something else.
Yeah.
It's
There
fucking
was,
dumb.
piece
It's
as opposed
so
to an actual
stupid.
game.
British
Right.
guy, like this was on a YouTube or whatever, just recently, where a British guy watched a football game and commented on it, and a lot of what he brought up was kind of right. And that was one of the things was like the kickoff, like why not just start it at the 25 every time? Like why are we doing? Like what are we doing?
Oh, well, let's be honest with you.
that's
Whatever he
kind
says
of like.
Because 1% of the time he actually might run it back.
Right.
Yeah, but how often
do the
does that
same thing on
happen
a
even
punt
now?
return,
Like,
but-
Listen, whatever I'm going to say
Like,
is
we're
this
not
British
playing-
guy was probably right, but fuck him anyway.
But he brought up a lot. Like I don't remember all the points that he made, but like they were like, you know what? He's right. Like okay, he's he's
It's
cooking.
all gotten very silly, hasn't it? Or In it?
In it, yeah. You pop it in your ear, jackass.
So Mr. Irrelevant is going to score some touchdowns, I think, is what you're getting at.
So that's what you're going with?
I think so. 49ers.
Well, here's the thing with me with this game. I watched every single Dolphins game. The regular season to me is irrelevant come playoff time in any sport.
No, absolutely.
And the Dolphins were never going to actually win in Kansas City when it's like 0 degrees
0 degrees,
out.
yeah, no.
Dolphins historically doesn't matter who the coach is, who the players
they
are.
never
they
perform
will
well in the
lose
cold.
if it's very cold.
Yeah,
just
no.
That's what's
They don't
going to
have
happen. But even going along with that, the Chiefs didn't play particularly well
I wouldn't
against
say
the
so.
Bills.
And like, listen,
But-
I didn't watch the single game, but I look at stats. I always look at stats.
Bills lost on their own. They had every opportunity, and they fumbled, air quote.
But what I will say is they went into Baltimore and they absolutely owned the Ravens.
Yeah.
And the Ravens are arguably the best team throughout the regular season in the NFL.
Lamar Jackson ruined that. Like he muffed that last last play, whatever. He gave it away.
Yeah.
Like he didn't do well.
Well, I mean, the Chiefs defense played very well in that game. And that's why I'm kind of going along with what I'm trying to work out here. Just seeing what I saw from the 49ers. They didn't play well against the Packers. They probably should have lost that game. They definitely should have lost that Detroit Lions game.
Yeah, definitely.
Dan Campbell, I like Dan Campbell. I think he should have stayed as the coach of the Dolphins for a little bit longer than a cup of coffee. But and I will never begrudge a man for having a pair of balls and going for it on fourth down. But the gambles didn't pay off, and that ultimately was one of the bigger reasons why the Lions lost that game.
Yeah, kick the field goal, it would have been all right.
So I know an ugly win is still a win, but based off of the data that I saw from these two games, from what the Chiefs played and from what the 49ers played, I hate to say it because I don't want to see it happen because fuck Travis Kelce and fuck Taylor Swift.
No, Dan.
I think this is going to be a Chiefs victory. I think it's going to be something like 24-17.
I think it's going to be pretty close. Everything I've seen, like the numbers are going side to side depending on who you're looking at. I think it's going to be fairly close, but I think you're right, Dan.
Yeah, to me,
it's not going to be a blow up by any right.
It's not.
49ers defense is pretty good. I don't know.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It is. No
Yeah,
lie.
but
I'm talking from my heart, though.
but Taylor Swift can break through that fucking line.
It's true, I guess.
She's the toughest motherfucker they got on the Chiefs.
Gotta get Swifty.
The one thing.
Yeah, get Swift. Yeah, let's get Swifty.
Yeah, got to take your pants.
Yeah,
take your pants.
pull your pants
panties
down,
off.
take your shit on the floor.
Yeah.
Let's get Swifty. What on I saw the button, but I can't hear it. I love it.
Somebody take that board away
We've
from
been
him.
trained.
None of you know how to use it.
That's true.
I know how to push a button.
Oh,
Oh, look at what he
wow. I feel like I just witnessed something.
Absolutely.
Horrible.
He did it. He did it, everybody.
And
I got
Moses
it.
woke up dead tomorrow.
Yeah.
did. I wake up dead every day, sir.
So my one issue with the 49ers and their defense, because I do agree that their defense is good, but against the Lions, it looked like they just, like, you could just run up right up the gut. Now, I don't know if that was the Lions' offensive line. I don't know if it was their running game, but it just looked like in that first half especially, the Lions were just grounding and pounding them.
And the Chiefs can do that, so.
Yeah.
So, my personal opinion, I don't like saying it because I don't want them to win. Because fuck Travis Kelce and fuck Taylor Swift.
Well, that's also because I'm with it because it's like they've got all the people that don't caring about that team winning because of that, and that makes me want to be like, fuck you.
Well, I have my own grievances with Travis Kelce.
You have grievances.
I have grievances with everybody. But Travis Kelce is a shill for Pfizer, so I'm not particularly.
Oh, is he?
big
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he has done a bunch of commercials.
We should have done a Festivus episode.
Oh, man. It's never too late.
No, next year.
But Justin, you said you were going with the 49ers. Do you have any kind of specific pick for that, like a score, or who do you think will be the MVP?
Honestly, that's a good question. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I want the 49ers to win, but hearing you guys all talk about this, you're not wrong. The Chiefs can run the football.
Yeah.
49ers defense is pretty good. The Chiefs defense is pretty damn good too, though. They got Chris Jones, Chris Young.
Tight game.
So.
The only thing I can really say is I think it's gonna be a tight game.
They both got good quarterbacks. Well, I mean, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, if you will.
I enjoyed that.
Well, that's his nickname. He was the
Yeah,
last
he was
pick.
the last
I had only heard that once briefly, so this is all like flashing back from me.
Yeah, I want him to do well. Like he seems like a like a good person to root for. I'm just done rooting for Patrick Mahomes. So fuck the Chiefs. I'm going 49ers.
Attaboy.
Fuck Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I agree with you, but I just maybe this is one of those situations where I'm happy to be wrong.
Right.
But I can't pick it. I can't pick the 49ers. I know they have the better weapons, the better running backs and wide receivers, but the way that the Chiefs defense played against the Ravens, and I think that the Ravens have a better offense than the 49ers. So if they can at least do half of what they did against the 49ers, what they did against the Ravens, I think this is like a 24-17 game.
I vote for the Swifties because
for the
as
Swifties.
long as Taylor is
would.
there, we all win.
Fucking terrorist.
We all win.
Yeah.
All right, well, there you go.
I don't like Mahomes, and I don't like his voice. I don't like how he looks, and
like
I don't
his
like that he
name.
sounds like Kermit the Frog.
I want to make
Does
this
he sound
clear.
like-
Yeah.
This is not
this.
an endorsement. I'm not condoning anything that of
Too
anyone
late
on the
for
Chiefs
that, Dan.
roster.
Right.
It's
right.
too late for
But
that.
also, I can, in my good conscience, pick the 49ers because fuck San Francisco, too.
Well, yeah. It's
That's a Miami thing, though.
No, that's really more of a I just don't like.
Is it too late for me to root for the Patriots? Who's in the Super Bowl?
The Eagles.
Justin, do you have a
Oh, the
pick?
Eagles! I love them.
Yeah.
all right. As far as a pick, I'm going Chiefs, but I think the score will be within 5 either way.
All right, so
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed our Super Bowl edition of the Loud and Drunk podcast. I would like to encourage you to subscribe to this podcast. We are on Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, everywhere else you get your fucking podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. Check us out on, well, I already said that. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell. Follow us on social media. We are at Loud and Drunk on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If you enjoyed this episode, then become a Loud and Drunk supporter at loudanddrunk.locals.com and patreon.com/loudanddrunk. So for Justin, Moses, Pete, and our NFL expert, Justin the Mechanic,
Super Bowl.
I'm Dan. Oh, did I say Pete?
Who the fuck is that?
That's Fred Williamson's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Fred the Hammer Williamson.
Hi, I'm sorry.
You're going to be feeling it
I
soon
forgot
enough.
it was
Keep
like
it
a-
moving, Dan.
Yeah.
Just roll
You got to
over
say
it.
the whole thing like a Tribe
Roll
Called
over it.
Quest.
Yeah.
So
Every
for
time.
so for Justin, Moses, and Pete, I'm Dan.
Attaboy.
Thank you for joining us, and until next time, this was Loud and Drunk.
The Hammer.
The Hebrew Hammer.
Yeah.
I wanna be the Hebrew Hammer.